Dear viewers, welcome to our channel. Subscribe to receive more stories every day. Lisa never saw it coming. 20 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children who were now grown and out of the house, and a life she had built with her husband, Mark. She had always been the devoted wife, the one who held the family together while Mark chased his ambitious career. It was never easy, but Lisa believed they were a team. Unit. Partners in every sense of the word. One crisp autumn morning, while folding laundry in the living room, Lisa heard the front door open. Mark walked in, his expression unreadable. His usual confident stride seemed hesitant, almost shaky. Curious and slightly worried, Lisa put down the basket and approached him. "Hey, what's going on?" she asked, trying to catch his gaze. Mark looked at her, his mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Finally, he dropped the bomb. "Lisa, I want a divorce," he said, his voice cold and detached. The words didn't register at first. Divorce. They hadn't even fought recently. The room spun, and Lisa gripped the edge of the sofa, trying to steady herself. Why, what are you talking about?" she stammered. He sighed, avoiding her eyes. I've been seeing someone else. For a while now. I'm in love with her. It's serious." A knife couldn't have cut deeper. Lisa felt her heart splinter into pieces, and her legs threatened to give out beneath her. "How long?" she whispered, barely able to form the words. Mark rubbed his temple as if this was somehow inconvenient for him. "About a year. We've been planning to move in together once the divorce is final. I've already talked to a lawyer. I didn't want to keep lying to you." Lisa's world crumbled around her. She could hardly hear him over the deafening roar in her ears. Mark's cold practicality made it even worse. She had dedicated her entire life to their family and his career, giving up her dreams to support his. And now she was being tossed aside like an old coat. Her throat was dry, her mind swirling with questions and rage. "Who is she?" Lisa asked, somehow managing to steady her voice. Mark hesitated. "Her name is Jenna. She's one of the project managers at the firm." Lisa's chest tightened. Jenna. The woman she had met several times at company parties. The one who always laughed a bit too loudly at Mark's jokes. The one who seemed just a little too friendly. It all made sense now. The late nights, the business trips, the distant glances. Desperate to hold on to some semblance of dignity, Lisa nodded and took a deep breath. "Fine. You want a divorce. You'll get it. But I'm not leaving this house until I'm ready." Mark's expression softened with a hint of guilt, but he didn't fight her on it. Maybe he thought he was being generous by giving her a little time to adjust. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing her break down. Not now. The days dragged on, and Lisa went through the motions in a daze. She cried when no one was looking and avoided social events. News of the divorce spread quickly among their social circle, and pitying glances followed her everywhere she went. It was humiliating, but Lisa forced herself to smile and act like she was fine. One night, unable to sleep, she scrolled through old photos on her phone, images from their family vacations, birthdays, and anniversaries. Mark looked so happy in all of them, as did she. How much of it had been a lie? Tears blurred her vision, and she wiped them away angrily. Enough. Enough crying over a man who didn't deserve her. Her lawyer had been sympathetic but practical. The settlement would give her some savings, but Mark was keeping the house, as it was in his name. With the divorce finalized, she had just 3 weeks to move out. Lisa took a deep breath and made a decision. If she was going to start over, she would do it on her own terms. She packed up her belongings with a determination that surprised even her. Each box sealed felt like another step toward reclaiming her life. Mark barely acknowledged her as she moved out. He seemed relieved to see her go, eager to start his new life with Jenna. Standing on the sidewalk, surrounded by the last of her boxes, Lisa looked back at the house that had been her whole world. She could see Mark and Jenna through the living room window, laughing over takeout as if the past 2 decades meant nothing. It hurt, but she turned away, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. Lisa didn't have a solid plan, just an old car packed to the brim and a fierce determination to rise above the ashes of her old life. Little did she know that fate had something remarkable waiting for her just around the corner. Lisa drove aimlessly for hours, unsure of where to go or what to do next. The loneliness pressed in on her like a crushing weight, but she refused to let it break her spirit. Eventually, she found herself parked at the edge of a quiet park, the sun setting behind the trees, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Sitting in the car, she wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. She couldn't afford to crumble now. With nothing but her clothes and a few sentimental items, Lisa knew she needed to make a fresh start. Pulling out her phone, she searched for rental properties within her modest budget, finally settling on a small but charming 1-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town. It wasn't much, but it was hers. The first night alone was the hardest. The silence was suffocating, and every creak of the unfamiliar space set her nerves on edge. She curled up on the bare mattress, still wrapped in blankets, and let herself cry until sleep finally took her. But Lisa wasn't one to wallow for long. The next morning, with puffy eyes and an aching heart, she resolved to rebuild her life. She started looking for a job to support herself, but her skills were outdated, and most companies wanted younger candidates. Frustrated but determined, she signed up for online courses in business and finance, hoping to sharpen her abilities. One evening, as she was studying, Lisa stumbled upon an old email from her estranged father. He had left when she was just a teenager, abandoning the family without explanation. For years, she had harbored anger and resentment, refusing to even acknowledge his attempts to reconnect. But curiosity got the better of her, and she opened the last message he had sent before his passing. To her shock, it wasn't just an apology, it was a confession. He had left not because he wanted to abandon them, but because of a scandal that threatened to ruin the family financially. He didn't want them caught up in his downfall. The email included legal documents that were never opened, papers that revealed he had secretly invested in a technology startup before disappearing. His shares had been left in her name. Intrigued, Lisa did some research, only to discover that the small startup had become a billion-dollar company over the past decade. Heart racing, she contacted a financial advisor to verify the information. The advisor confirmed that her father's shares were indeed hers, worth tens of millions of dollars. Stunned, Lisa could barely process the news. Overnight, she had gone from broke and broken-hearted to an incredibly wealthy woman. Instead of indulging in revenge or flaunting her newfound wealth, Lisa kept it a secret. She knew that throwing her success in Mark's face wouldn't change what he had done. Instead, she focused on rebuilding her life on her own terms. Lisa bought a grand, elegant mansion in an affluent neighborhood, furnished it with style and sophistication, and used her remaining fortune to start a foundation supporting women recovering from betrayal and hardship. She wanted to be a beacon of hope for those who had suffered as she had. Years passed, and Lisa's foundation became renowned for its impact, offering scholarships, shelters, and business grants to women who had been left behind. She remained humble and grounded despite her wealth, never seeking the spotlight. The mansion became not just her home but a sanctuary for women who needed guidance and support. One day, while organizing a charity gala at her estate, Lisa was overseeing the floral arrangements when one of the event coordinators approached her. "Mrs. Harper, there's a man at the gate asking to see you. He says his name is Mark." Lisa's heart skipped a beat, but she remained composed. "Let him in," she replied, her voice calm and confident. She knew this moment would come sooner or later. As Mark approached, his face was a mask of confusion and awe. He looked older, worn down by life, with faint lines etched into his once proud features. When his eyes landed on Lisa, he struggled to mask his surprise. "Lisa," he stammered, looking around the grand foyer in disbelief. I heard about the charity event and couldn't believe it. I didn't know you lived here." Lisa offered a polite smile. "Yes, it's my home. Welcome." She gestured toward the lavish ballroom where guests were arriving. Mark was visibly uncomfortable, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. "I just wanted to see how you were doing. You look amazing." His voice was thick with regret. Lisa tilted her head, a serene smile never leaving her face. "I've been doing well. Life took some unexpected turns, but I'm grateful for where I am now." Mark's gaze dropped, guilt flashing across his face. "I never imagined. After the divorce, I didn't think you'd end up like this." Lisa remained composed, unbothered by his pity. "Turns out, being forced to start over was the best thing that ever happened to me." Just then, the doors opened, and a handsome, impeccably dressed man entered the room. He approached Lisa with a warm smile and kissed her cheek. "Everything's ready for your speech," he whispered, his hand gently resting on her shoulder. Mark's face paled as he realized that Lisa had moved on, not just financially but emotionally. His mouth opened as if to say something, but words failed him. Lisa gave him one last kind look. "Take care, Mark," she said before turning away to address her guests, leaving him standing there, silent and defeated. As Lisa took the stage, applause filled the grand hall, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of peace wash over her. She had risen from the ashes of betrayal, stronger and more successful than ever, and Mark was nothing more than a chapter from a past she had long since closed. As Lisa took the stage, the applause echoed throughout the grand ballroom, a symphony of admiration and respect. She looked out at the faces in the audience, business leaders, philanthropists, and women whose lives had been transformed by the foundation she had built. The sight was overwhelming, but in the best way possible. "Good evening, everyone," Lisa began, her voice steady and confident. "Tonight, we gather not just to celebrate success, but to honor resilience and transformation. Every woman here has faced hardship, betrayal, or loss. But you didn't let it define you. You rose above it, turned pain into power, and rebuilt your lives with grace and strength. I am so proud of each and every one of you." The audience erupted in applause, and Lisa paused to gather her thoughts. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Mark lingering by the doorway, still rooted to the spot as if his legs wouldn't carry him away. She chose to ignore him, focusing on the people who mattered. She continued, sharing stories of the Foundation's achievements and the remarkable journeys of women who had fought their way back from despair. The more she spoke, the more confident she felt, knowing that her words carried weight because they were rooted in her own experience. After the speech, guests mingled and enjoyed the elegant dinner that followed. Lisa was approached by several influential donors who wanted to discuss expanding the Foundation's reach. As she spoke with them, she couldn't help but notice Mark inching closer, clearly hesitant but curious. Finally, when she was momentarily alone, he gathered the courage to speak. "Lisa, can we talk?" he asked, his voice a mixture of uncertainty and regret. Lisa glanced at him, calm and composed. "About what, Mark?" she replied, her tone neutral. He hesitated, unsure how to begin. "I just had no idea about any of this. You seem so different. I didn't know you had it in you." She looked at him for a moment, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "That's because you never really saw me, Mark. You were too busy looking for someone else to validate your ego. You thought I was just the housewife who couldn't survive without you." Mark swallowed hard, guilt painted across his face. "I know I made mistakes, big ones, but seeing you like this, I just wanted to say I'm sorry." I was wrong about you. Lisa remained unmoved, refusing to let him see how much his words once would have meant. You don't have to apologize, she said gently. In a way, you did me a favor. You leaving forced me to find out who I really am. I'm grateful for that. His shoulders slumped as he processed her words, realizing that his apology wouldn't change anything. He looked down at the polished marble floor, unable to meet her gaze. Jenna left me, you know, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Turns out she wasn't interested once the money problem started. The company went under after the scandal with the project contracts. I lost almost everything. Lisa felt a pang of sympathy but quickly pushed it aside. This was no longer her burden to carry. I'm sorry to hear that, she said with sincerity, but there was no pity in her tone. Mark looked at her one last time, as if searching for a glimmer of hope or a shred of the old Lisa who would have comforted him. But she was gone, replaced by the woman who had risen from betrayal with grace and triumph. Mark gave a weak nod and walked away, shoulders hunched, his footsteps echoing through the grand hall as he disappeared out the door. Lisa didn't dwell on his departure. Instead, she turned her attention back to the guests, grateful for the path she had chosen. One of the board members approached her with a beaming smile. Lisa, that speech was incredible. You have such a way of inspiring people, she said warmly. Thank you, Lisa replied, her confidence unshakable. It's not just about inspiration. It's about reminding women that they are worth more than the pain they endure, that they have the power to change their own story. The board member nodded appreciatively. Your story proves that. You've done remarkable things, and it's just the beginning. Later that night, as the guests filtered out and the mansion quieted, Lisa took a moment to sit in the garden under the soft glow of lanterns. She let the cool breeze brush against her face, reflecting on how far she had come. From the woman sobbing on a bare mattress to the woman standing proud in her own mansion, she had reclaimed her life. Her new partner, Daniel, joined her, slipping his arm around her shoulders. You did amazing tonight, he whispered, pressing a kiss to her temple. Lisa leaned into him, feeling warmth and love that were genuine and steadfast. Thank you for always believing in me, she replied, grateful for the second chance at happiness. As they sat together, looking out at the sprawling garden she had planted with her own hands, Lisa knew that her story was more than just survival. It was a triumph. And as for Mark, he was just a faded chapter in a book filled with new beginnings and endless possibilities. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe to our channel to receive more stories every day. Share with us what you think of this story and tell us where you're watching from.